What's up, everybody? Jake Blickenstaff coming at you in another video. So today on Tip Tuesday, I'm excited to bring to you this video. It's kind of a continuation of last week. Previously, I covered the pre-qualification and kind of how that differentiates between a pre-approval. So today, I'm going to cover a pre-approval, a little bit more in depth of like what the next step is after a pre-qualification and all the additional details that are needed. And the big thing is, if you're already familiar with the process, just stick around for the first part. I got some key takeaways. That way, whether you've had a mortgage recently, if you're in the market for another property, whether you're selling, about to buy another one, or maybe you're a first-time home buyer and just kind of curious about how the overall process works, these key takeaways are going to be beneficial to you no matter what. So let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll dive right in. All right, so on today's episode, so these key takeaways that I was going to talk about, going through the pre-approval process, it's better to go with several lenders at the same time whenever you apply, because you're actually going to only get hit with one inquiry per se on your credit report as opposed to multiple. And usually, I think they might have changed it recently. I think it was previously like 45 days, and now they've kind of tightened up that time limit within like, I think 20 or 30 days. It might be like 17, I'm not certain. But if you are applying for a loan for a new home that you're going to be buying, some of the things that you might want to look into, just because you see attractive rates on that ad that's online, you also have to take into consideration if they're going to be servicing your loan, meaning once you get into the house after you buy it, are they going to be the ones that you talk to if you have any questions about it? And just because they have good rates now doesn't mean they're going to have great customer service later. So we have a lot of mortgage lenders that we work with that are local that we know that they're going to answer the phone every single time whenever you call them. And if not, they're going to reach back out to you within a fast amount of time. So that's definitely a good thing to be able to have. So whenever you're going through the process, you want to have several lenders possibly, so that way you can shop interest rates and kind of get the best deal, and all at the same time within about a week or two. Sellers are often going to be wanting to see a mortgage pre-approval letter, sometimes proof of funds. It really just shows that the buyer is serious. And this is definitely going to come into play once you start getting into the luxury real estate market. So anything 500,000 above, especially $1 million and above, a lot of times you're not even going to be eligible to go see a property until you have proof of funds, certified proof of funds letter, along with that pre-approval process. Even if you are a cash buyer, you do have to show proof of funds that you are a serious buyer. Now, the first step in filling out the mortgage application is going to be supplying your social security number to the lender so they can do a credit check. Now, this is going to be kind of the different part than a pre-qualification. Pre-qualification is usually just information that you submit. It's not really checked against anything. So they didn't do a credit report. They didn't check your credit. They didn't check any of the information that you provided. It's kind of going off your word. Well, now that we're getting into the pre-approval side of it, now they're going to be doing more of a deep dive into everything that you submit. Now, you're going to need to be able to provide extensive documentation, such as job history, assets, liability, income tax returns, and more. And if you're self-employed, you're definitely going to need to have and show at least 2 years of income. Same thing with commission, if that's your primary source of income. Now, after reviewing your application, the lenders offer pre-approval or pre-approval with conditions, or they're going to deny the pre-approval. So you'll know usually within about a day to 3 days on what the result of that's going to be. So what is a pre-approval? So think of it as kind of a physical exam for your finances. You know, they're going to poke and prod into kind of all corners of your financial life as a way to ensure that you're actually going to be able to repay that mortgage down the road. Now, before lenders decide to pre-approve you for a mortgage, like I said, they're going to look at some things. The other video that I did last week, same kind of thing I mentioned, you know, they're going to be looking at your credit history, credit score, debt to income ratios, making sure that you have positive credit history, that you've previously been able to repay debts without racking up too much credit or too much debt. Your employment history, make sure you have that stable. along with income in your current list of assets and liabilities. So what all is going to be involved in the pre-approval process? Well, first off, you need to fill out a mortgage application. And most of the time, just about any lender that you can come across, they usually have a link on their site where you can go do all of this. And with that mortgage application, you're going to be providing your social security number so they can do a hard credit check. Hard credit check is triggered when you apply for a mortgage. So whenever they do pull your credit, that's what they're going to use to assess your credit worthiness before they actually decide to lend you money. And these checks are recorded on your credit report and can impact your score. This is why I mentioned that it's important if you're going to be applying for a mortgage, you want to try to get as many of those. Like if you're going to do your shop around, you're going to want to do that within that first probably 15 to 20 days in the very beginning. So that way you don't have multiple hard credit inquiries on your report. So when are you actually going to be wanting to get a pre-approval? Pre-approval letters, they're going to be good for about 60 to 90 days. So if you got one today and 60 or 90 days, whenever that expiration date is, whenever that expires, if you still have not purchased a house, or if you don't have a property under contract that's currently being underwritten, then unfortunately you're going to have to go back to that mortgage lender or whoever it is that you decide to use after the fact to get a new pre-approval letter. And what that means is they're going to have to recheck everything that they've already done, just because the reason they put expirations on it is in case anything happens to change financially in your life, but also in the market. So that way it gives them the ability to kind of double check to make sure everything's still good to go. But like I said, you will be getting hit with another hard inquiry if for whatever reason you don't go all the way through the home buying process during that original 90-day period. So if you're just starting to think about buying a home and suspect that you might have some difficulty getting a mortgage and you're going to be going through the pre-approval process, it can help you identify some credit issues in advance. So it's not really a bad thing. And you can seek out a pre-approval 6 months to a year in advance. A lot of mortgage lenders can look at what your current financial situation is, and they can give you paths of recommendations to, hey, if you do this and you pay off these cards, or if you get another credit card in your name, or pay off this loan, it'll be beneficial to you. And it might be able to save you some money in the long run based off where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish based on your goals. Now, at the end of the day, realize that I am not a mortgage originator or a mortgage professional, but I do have multiple that I work with on a daily basis. So if you do want to go through the process and you are interested in buying a house here within the next year, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you out through the process. So once again, Jake Blickenstaff with Virtual Properties Realty on our another Tip Tuesday video. And if there's anything that I can do for you real estate wise, just let me know. Appreciate you guys. Have a great afternoon.